Welcome. This audio is for the facilitators who will be doing their Maker Day. Maker Day, remember, is an immersive professional learning event for educators to actively engage and participate in the 4 phases and 5 activities within this model. The 4 phases include designing, tinkering, thinking, and reflecting. For the facilitator, it is your task to ensure 6 things happen. Number 1, overall, keep your groups on task and on time. It's important to recognize that this could go on forever, and that's not what's going to happen, and that each of the phases are very important. Number 2, in the designing phase, facilitate the design thinking process. This isn't a timed event, and you have to ensure that everybody is moving forward in a timely manner as well. In the tinkering, make sure that each group selects one design and builds to a prototype. Have them show the design sketch in step number 7, and everybody agrees and has drawn that particular design sketch that they're going to work on. Are they going to tinker it? Are they going to change it a little bit and make those changes? Yes, definitely. Throughout the build, they're going to add, subtract. As soon as they see the participant group kit, they may make some changes. However, they have to start at a point where everybody agrees. That's really important in the tinkering phase. In the thinking phase, when they're thinking and tinkering, help your group make connections to trades and professions that are being represented throughout your Maker Day. Make sure that there are people in your tool crib, in your pantry, in your appropriate technologies who are able to do that just in case training and be able to ensure that safety is being met, that people know how to use the equipment in the right way, and that maybe they've never met a cotter pin before, so they have to know what kinds of things they would need to do with that. In the reflecting, make sure that they're reflecting on their process and that they're documenting. This is really important for the design charrette, sometimes called the gallery tour, so that people are able to see where their thinking and process actually came from. And finally, in the end of the day, you want to talk about next steps. Discuss how they might integrate making and design into their classrooms and into their practices. It's a tough time sometimes because people are really tired, they're ready to go going, but it's really important to have that next steps. You've built all of the synergy and excitement and desire to move forward. Now we need to know that those next steps are there. So basically, let me summarize the 6 responsibilities that you have. Overall, keep your groups on task and on time. Designing, facilitate the design thinking process. In tinkering, help each group select one design and build to that prototype. In thinkering, help your group make connections to trades and professions. And reflecting, let them reflect on their process and make sure that they document it. And then as far as next steps, discuss how they might integrate making and design into their classrooms and practices. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the time. I'm sure you'll have a great event. Welcome. This audio will overview the design thinking process and explain some of the things that you will need to tell your groups before you get started. Before you start the design thinking process, ensure that everyone has had a break, that they've gotten coffee, that they recognize that this process will take approximately 60 minutes, that there's no interruptions once the process has started, and that they will be working individually, in pairs, and within the groups. So you have to make sure at each step you let them know, is it an individual task, is it a partnered task, is it a group task, and you need to also let them know how much time that they're going to have. Please ensure that you have a digital timer to be able to time the individual steps. It's important that each partner gets the same amount of time for each of the different steps, and that they move seamlessly from one step to the other and that there are no interruptions. If people have questions, please have a flip chart piece of paper that says parked questions on it and have them quickly write down the questions, or possibly you'll have other helpers that will be able to write down their questions. Or the other thing that you can do is have post-it notes, and then they can write their questions down. Then what you can do is you can gather the post-it notes at the end of the design process and make sure that those questions are answered in the debrief at the end of the day. Ensure that you have even numbers in your groups. For some, there will be groups of 4. For some, there will be groups of 6. We suggest not getting any bigger than groups of 6. Pairs do not work at this particular point, so you want groups of 4s or groups of 6s. And then once they start prototyping in step 7, you will be able to maybe split those groups of 6s to 2 groups of 3 if you have enough participant group kits. Because 3 or 4s are good for the prototyping. For the design thinking process, you have to make sure that there are even numbers. Be sure that you have gone through the actual practice, maybe practice with your helpers or other facilitators to see how it feels with the design thinking process. And recognize that your group facilitator guide is available to download on the Innovative Learning Center website. Have fun, enjoy the process, keep to the times, and make sure that step 1 to step 6 is going to take about an hour. Step 7 is where they negotiate and then start prototyping. And step 8 is actually done at the end of the day. So they will have to return to those pages at some point in time. So please don't take the pencils away from them when you're cleaning up for the gallery tour, because they're actually going to need those pencils to do the reflection component in step 8 after the design charrette or gallery tour has been completed. Step 1 in the design thinking process. On the tables, there should be 1 design challenge for every 2 participants at the table, and there should be 1 design thinking activity sheet for each participant at the table. So if you have a group of 4, you should have 2 design challenges and 4 design thinking activity sheets. I also include sharpened pencils and ensure that I have a pencil sharpener that is working for the day. So make sure that you have sharpened pencils, a design challenge for every 2 participants, and a design thinking activity sheet for each group and table. When you start the first step, it is actually a partnered activity. So what you want to do is you want the groups to decide who's going to partner, and then in that partnership, who's going to be partner A and who's going to be partner B. What happens is that this makes it much easier as you're going through the actual explanations, because you can say partner A will do this, partner B will do that. Just as a quick start to make sure that groups have done so, have all the partner A's raise their hands and all the partner B's raise their hands, and make sure that everybody is aware of who is A and who is B. In step 1, it is an empathy step. Recognize we're doing a human-centered design thinking process, and that means that we're not starting with problem solving, but we're starting with problem finding. And the first part of the problem finding is, who are we actually thinking about that is going to actually use whatever it is that's going to be prototyped. So in this step, you're going to give them 4 minutes. Start with partner A will actually interview partner B, and in that opportunity they need to find out what their first thoughts about the design challenge is. So usually we start with suggesting a W5, who, what, where, when, why, and then how. And in this, they're just getting some basic answers to some basic questions. Partner A, who is doing the interviewing, will also be taking notes from partner B. So at the end of the 4 minutes, when you ask them to stop, then also ask partner A to write down some notes about what partner B has actually said. So you have partner A asking partner B. Then what's going to happen is for the next 4 minutes, partner B is going to interview partner A. So again, partner B will do the interviewing, start with the W5, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and ensure that they have some ideas about who they're thinking about that is actually going to be using whatever device and what that device looks like, or tool, or whatever it is that they're going to prototype based on your design challenge. Again, this starts the empathy stage. It's 2 4-minute sequences. Partner A interviews partner B interviews partner A. At the end, there should be notes on both of the design thinking activity sheets with some of the answers from the questions. This audio goes through step 2 of the design thinking process. In step 2, you want a more detailed interview from partner A and partner B. You will go through exactly the same process. Partner A interviews partner B interviews partner A. Notes should be in the step 2 of the design thinking activity sheet. And what you're looking for in the 3 minutes that you're going to give them is comprehension questions. How does the person that's being interviewed actually translate, comprehend, or interpret the design challenge, and the people who would actually be using the solution that is going to be prototyped? You want to make sure that they're asking as many questions as they can, asking them to tell them more of a story, be able to really pinpoint where they think that this design challenge could be situated, what kinds of things, what kinds of larger problems could it be resolving. It's those kinds of questions that they want to get involved with that is going to help them in step 3. Welcome. This audio is about step 3, defining the issue in the design thinking process. During this step, you will have all the participants working individually, and the timing is for 3 minutes. During this time, you want each individual to capture their findings and reframe the challenge, thinking about application kinds of questions. What you want to ask the participants to do is work individually, and everyone needs to determine what their partner's goals and wishes are. And remember, a goal is what is their partner trying to solve. Also, you want each individual to record any insights they have gained during the interview process, remembering that insights are the things that they learned that are new about the design challenge through the interviews with their partners. In a lot of cases, they're asking application kinds of questions to themselves and being able to gain a better perspective before they start going into step 4, where they actually start ideating and sketching their ideas. Hi, this is the step 4 for the design thinking process. In this step, you are going to ask participants to turn their paper over, and there are 5 spaces in which you'd like them to sketch ideas to solve the problems that they've defined as goals, wishes, and insights in step 3 for the design challenge. Ensure that the participants know that you would like them to sketch as much as they possibly can, and recognize that they only need to do stick figures, use circles, use squares, use triangles, squiggly lines to be able to form their ideas around their prototyping. What they're going to do with these 5 ideas is that they're going to start ideating what would be a resolution for the design challenge, and ensure that they know that rather than using words to illustrate their ideas, as they did in step 3, as much as possible try to use sketches. If they want to label the sketches as to what parts they are, then that's totally fine. For one of the sketches, ask them to think way outside of the box and try to really think of something that's way out there that they might be able to prototype to be able to answer this design challenge. Again, they have 10 minutes. They should be working on it individually, and encourage as much as possible that they sketch rather than use words. Welcome. This is step 5 of the design thinking process. In this step, you are going to have the A's work with the A's and the B's work with the B's. Recognize that if you have groups of 6, that means that there will be 3 A's and 3 B's. So what you'll ask them to do is take the full 10 minutes and ensure that each person has a chance to be able to describe the goals and wishes and insights that they determined based on the interviewing in the first 2 steps. Also to share their 5 ideas that they sketched out as to how they think that the problem can be solved for the design challenge and the type of prototyping they're thinking about. What the people who are not presenting will do is they will start asking questions and giving feedback as to the kinds of things that they think might help or supplement the prototype that the person who's sharing their sketches might be able to do. In this way, it gives more information that people will be able to do before they get to step 6. For a group of 4, you're going to have 2 A's and 2 B's. Therefore, you're going to be timing 5 minutes for the first A to describe the goals, wishes, and insights, and then also the 5 sketches. And then the second A, in the second 5 minutes, will be able to actually describe their information, their goals, their wishes, their insights, and how they actually sketch the ideas as to how to start solving the design challenge. Welcome. This is step 6 of the design thinking process. In this step, what the individuals are going to do is redesign their sketch and start developing their prototype that will solve the design challenge before them. Please ensure before they start sketching and you start timing that everyone takes a moment and rereads the design challenge, specifically what denotes success and what are the parameters that they need to develop to ensure that they have the prototype that is going to answer the design challenge. In a lot of cases, there's been a lot of conversation, there's been a lot of excitement, people have been timed, and in some cases, people have forgotten what process they're actually trying to solve. So ensure that, for example, if it's supposed to be a tool, that they are prototyping a tool and they haven't decided that they're going to build a community, or that they're going to ensure that they're only going to do one small piece because they only have 2 hours to be able to prototype. So it's important that they have that moment to pause before you actually start that 5-minute timing. Then what you want them to know is that they can synthesize all the data that they've received and start sketching their solution. For some people, this means that they want to start all over again. They've got a better idea, they've had some conversations, and even between the 5 sketches in step 4 and where they are now, they have a totally new idea as to how to solve the design challenge. Encourage everyone to sketch as much as they possibly can, reminding them that they're welcome to label different parts of their prototype. However, we would like more sketches than words in this particular step. Welcome. This is step 7 of the design thinking process. In this step, this is where the group starts collaborative prototyping. Remember, and please remind the groups that they will only build one prototype for each group. What happens in step 7 is each member will actually present their solution, explaining their goals, their wishes, their insights, and a little description of what their sketch looks like. Everyone will get a turn in the group, and then there will start to be a negotiation. And what they need to negotiate is they need to evaluate each solution in the group and come to some kind of consensus as to which one solution they would like to prototype. Now recognize that the prototype that they actually finish, and that's what is actually drawn, each person draws the same prototype in step 7, because in a lot of cases what groups have found is that they'd like to use little bits and pieces of each person's solution and then develop a different prototype that's a collection of all the different solutions. So ensure that each of the members in the group have sketched the same prototype solution in number 7. Once they've done that, they will put up their hands, and either yourself or one of your helpers will come over, ask them to describe their solution, go through the success and the parameters, and ensure that they've looked at those parts and that you can see those parts, and then give them the participant group kit that they're actually going to be able to build their prototype with. Recognize that you want to let them know when they get the participant group kit that they may want to go back to that sketch in step 7, and they might want to make some kinds of changes. And if they do want to make changes, then that change only needs to be on one of the solutions. It doesn't have to be on every solution. However, when they're finished, when they have built their prototype, their sketch should match their prototype. So they have to ensure that if they're making any changes or taking pieces or adding pieces, that what happens is that that sketch is being updated as they're going along. They want to ensure that they explore the tool station, the pantry, the tool crib if fabrication is being involved, and ensure that they understand all of the materials that are available to them. But it is really important at this point in time as well to remind them that one of the parameters is they need to use some of everything that is in the toolkit that is a consumable material. And what I mean by that is, for example, you might put the rulers in, or you might have pliers in there. Those aren't consumable materials. They don't necessarily have to use those, but what they do have to do is, if there's 5 marbles, they need to use at least 1 marble. If there's a pipe cleaner, they need to use a part of 1 pipe cleaner. They don't need to use a part of all 5 pipe cleaners, but there has to be representations of all of the consumable materials that are within the participant group kit. Welcome. This audio is to describe what happens between step 7 and step 8. In step 7, remember the groups have actually negotiated which prototype they're going to build based on the design sketch that they all agreed upon. In step 8 is when individuals start reflecting about their day and their personal learning of the day. The prototyping, reflective panel, and design charrette are all explained in the other PowerPoint that is part of this series. Please remember that building the prototype is actually the tinkering phase. The reflective panels are the thinkering phase. Both of those are group activities that you want to ensure that the groups are all working well together. And the reflecting starts when everyone starts participating in the design charrette, and that is a group as well as an individual activity. Welcome. This audio is regarding Step 8 of the Design Thinking activity. In Step 8 is the individual reflection. During this time, you're going to ask participants to return to their groups and share what they have learned in their groups after the design charrette, and then give them some time to individually reflect on the day, put a few keywords into Step 8, and they can either share those out, or you might want to go around the room and ask people to choose 3 words or 1 word that describes their day and possibly build a word cloud from that. Also, during this step, you want to ensure that if there's any evaluations that they're done, and a short debrief of the day, answering any questions. Possibly you've had questions that were parked during the day and you need to actually answer those questions now. And most importantly, let the people know what the next steps as far as making into their classrooms is going to look like.